We are back to make great Grandma Torresso's fast gravy with chickpeas on the side. This is a vegetarian dish. If you want to add any kind of meat to it, grill up, saute up some Italian sausage or something like that on the side. Tonight we're doing a meatless dinner, which is why we're going to do the garbanzo beans with it instead. And that's an optional thing. We make them on the side. 4 out of the 5 of us like to add them into our pasta. 1 of us doesn't. But it's a delicious side dish to go along with it. So in the Italian world, or many regions, I'm not going to say all because I don't know for sure, their gravy is what a lot of people call pasta sauce, tomato sauce, marinara sauce. In Steve's family, they refer to it as gravy. This is the fast gravy because it doesn't take as long to cook. It doesn't have to simmer for hours. It has great flavor. It is very different from the traditional Sunday gravy, which gets cooked with the meatballs and braciole and whatnot. So this is a great, quick weeknight dinner. Not a lot of ingredients, not hard to make. So I do have I do have my cans of whole peeled tomatoes. Pickings were slim. I know I usually say we use the Di Fratelli. They did not have them, no big deal. I got these instead, the San Marzanos. So I have my whole tomatoes. We're gonna do some garlic with that and olive oil. Salt, pepper, a little Parmesan goes in that, and that's it for the fast gravy. Again, the flavor really comes from browning up the garlic in it. You just don't want to brown it up too quickly. And then for the garbanzo beans, I have my cans of chickpeas, garbanzo beans, still with the liquid in it. Don't dump them out because you need that liquid. I'm gonna do 2 cans because 4 of us are gonna eat them. So I'm gonna do 2 bay leaves, about 3 to 4 garlic cloves, just lightly smashed and thrown in there. About 2 pieces of celery that we're gonna break up in there. And that's it, and then we'll let those simmer. So we're gonna get both going. I'm gonna get the chickpeas going first. So first thing you're gonna do, like I said, is you're gonna take your garlic cloves and you're just gonna give them a smash. Throw your knife on top, give them a good little smash. You don't wanna chop them up, you don't wanna fully break them up. You just kinda wanna release that flavor out of the garlic. So we'll get them peeled, throw it into my bowl over here. Junk. And we'll just kind of leave them, like I said, you can break it open a little bit more if it needs to be. I believe Steve's parents actually leave it in the skins either way because you're not going to eat this part of it anyhow. Oh, before I forget, meant to mention, Steve has entrusted me in making this dish. I normally don't cook this one. This is one that Steve cooks for our family on a regular basis. But I'm going to do it today because he is still upstairs on computer working. So he's allowing me to do it. So first things first, we're gonna take our garbanzo beans and we're gonna go ahead and get them dumped into our pan. I'm gonna bring over my smashed garlic cloves. I'll go ahead and break up my celery now. Just break it up with your hand. You can cut it up too, doesn't matter. Throw that in there. This is all gonna go in the pot together. All right, so we're gonna get everything going in the pan, like I said. If you so desire, pour yourself a glass of red wine to go with this. Also, if you can hear in the background, throw your Italian cooking station on. It's got some great songs on there. It really gets you in the mood. And we're gonna get started. So I have the heat on medium underneath the pan. You kind of want a wider set pan like I have here. Like I said, I'm gonna do the 2 cans because there is 4 of us eating them. If there's only 2 of you, you can cut everything in half. Just cook 1 can of garbanzos is fine. So we're gonna pour them in with the liquid. You want that liquid in there because they're gonna simmer. Okay, it's very simple. Spread them out. We're gonna throw in our celery, our smashed garlic cloves in there, and then our couple bay leaves. All right, I'm also going to take one of those canned tomatoes and break them up. Be careful because they tend to want to squirt out at you, but do it right over the pan here. Again, always using my hands. That's how it's got to go. So we're going to get everything in there. We're going to tuck those bay leaves in. Okay, and we're going to kind of bring this to a simmer. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. Let me wipe my hands off. I am going to do, as always, sprinkle some salt into there. Not too much, always just a little bit at a time. Make sure you taste it. If it needs more salt, add it then. Again, you can always add it Can't take it away. Put a little bit of pepper in there as well. And we're gonna get these to a simmer. Once they start to simmer, we are going to turn that heat down and then cover them up. And then while they're simmering away, we just kind of want to keep an eye on it in case that liquid really starts to evaporate. You still want to have a little bit of liquid in there. If it starts to evaporate, add a little bit of water to it. You could also add a little bit of chicken broth. That gives good flavor as well. I'll leave that up to whatever you may have for that. So we'll get these going, get these warming up. That heat there. And now in the meantime, we will go ahead and get started on the fast gravy. Okay, so for our fast gravy, I have the heat on about medium here. I am going to pour in some of the extra light olive oil. For some of you that may not know, when you're cooking, especially bringing something like to a boil over high heat, you always want to cook with the lighter oils. You don't want like an extra virgin olive oil because it'll get a little bit bitter. It's not meant for cooking at high temperatures. You want a lighter oil. So lighter olive oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, grapeseed oil. Those are good for cooking over a higher heat. So we are going to pour some in, and you're going to want a good few tablespoons worth to brown up that garlic. And then I took the 3 other garlic cloves that I had over there, and I peeled them. I did not smash them. I peeled them, and I cut them in about, you want them pretty thick slices, again, because they're going to simmer for a little while. You don't want them to cook too fast. They're going to burn. They're going to get bitter. So you want to just throw them in here, about 1/4-inch slices. And we are going to let those start simmering. And they will take a good, maybe close to 10 minutes to get to the point where we want them to. Okay, in the meantime, our chickpeas are starting to boil now, which is great. So we're gonna give them a stir. And at this point, I'm gonna turn the heat down and get them covered and just let them simmer. Let all those flavors kind of come together. Both of these dishes are kind of old school Italian peasant food. A lot of the peasant food, very inexpensive to make, not a ton of ingredients, yet it has a ton of flavor, which is awesome. So I'm gonna make sure I turn the right one down. I'm gonna turn that down. And I'm gonna maybe just throw this lid over it for a moment. I think it'll fit on there. All right, so we're gonna let those simmer. In the meantime, the garlics are just barely, you can see the little oil bubbles kind of forming around them, which is great. That's what you want it to do. Like I said, really the flavor of this dish comes from browning up this garlic into the olive oil on this one. So we are gonna let those go. In the meantime, we're gonna take our 2 cans of the whole tomatoes, and we're gonna go ahead and blend them up, and we're gonna blend them so that it gets nice and smooth. Okay, so we stopped the camera for a moment. I spared everybody from the sound of my blender going off, blending up the tomatoes. The garlic is starting to brown up. We got a ways to go still, but as you can see, it's starting to go a bit brown. So we're gonna flip it once, and then we're gonna flip it again. But we wanna get it brown on both sides. You can already smell it. It smells so good. And as always too, when you have oil going like this, even if you're frying something or even just this shallow pan with a little bit of oil, just be careful of dripping any water into it. I did one little drip in there because it will start splurting out at you. So just always be cautious of that. And a little bit sticky. Okay, so I have them all kind of flipped. We're gonna let them go a little bit again, a couple more minutes. My heat's still on medium, so they're not cooking too fast, so that's good. That's important. And we're just gonna let those go for a few minutes, and then we'll probably flip them again and flip them again. I will go ahead and make sure this is not hot, and it's not just yet. Let's grab a peek in here. See if they're still bubbling, and they are. Let's give them a little stir. So plenty of liquid in there. You can smell the bay leaf cooking in there. All right. Throw the lid on there, throw a spoon there. Good time to take a quick break. Have a small sip of wine or whatever you're drinking, Coke, doesn't matter. And then we'll be back in just a second. Okay. we're back. I'm here to show you this is kind of what your garlic should look like. Nice and brown. Again, you don't want to burn, but a nice golden kind of dark brown color. I flipped them a couple times in the last few minutes. And I think those are done. So what you're gonna do is we are gonna go ahead and turn the heat off, and we're gonna move the pan off of the heat to let it cool down. Before you add your tomatoes, you do wanna let this cool down for a couple minutes so that it doesn't splatter back at you. And if you haven't noticed, I have a third pan now on the stove. I went ahead and got a pan up here to get some water going for our pasta. So we need to get our pasta cooked as well. So we have our chickpeas simmering here. They're still doing good. They still have plenty of liquid in there. Chickpeas are doing well. Our garlic is done. We're gonna push it off the heat. Let it cool down for a minute. And we have our water going. We'll salt our water shortly for that. So we'll give this a minute to cool down, and then we'll come back and get the tomatoes going in there, and at that point, get it all just simmering. All right, so I let it cool about 5 minutes or so. We're gonna go ahead and throw it back on our front burner here, and I'm gonna slowly add a little bit of the tomatoes, make sure it doesn't, splurt out at me. So we'll get all of our pureed tomatoes, 2 full cans in there. Okay, at this point, we're gonna go ahead and turn the heat back on. We kind of want to bring it to a good bubble. So a good medium-high heat to start. I am going to throw in a pretty decent handful of Parmesan into the mix. I don't know, maybe about 1/3 of a cup. I don't think you can ever do too much. And we will do some pepper. And kosher salt. Nice good sprinkling in there. We will start with that much of everything, and then we'll check it after it simmers. Another thing that you can add to this, totally optional, and we don't add a ton because while Steve and I like quite a bit of spice, the girls can usually only handle a little bit at a time. So we do like to add a little bit of crushed red pepper. Again, it's not something that has to go in there, but we do like to sprinkle some in. Okay, make sure you get everything mixed together. You'll notice some of the oil has come up. That's fine. I kind of want to get everything mixed in. So the garlic, the way it is, we are going to leave it in there. You can, by the end, when it's done simmering for the 15-20 minutes or so, you can go ahead and fish it out if you want to. You can eat it if you want to. It's kind of up to you on what you want to do with it. But right now we want to leave it in there. Let's get this up to a good boil, and then we will cover it slightly. We're not going to cover it all the way, but we are going to cover it a little bit. We'll leave a little gap open for some of the steam to get out. Our water is slowly getting there for our pasta, and in the meantime, we are going to check our chickpeas, see how they're doing. Nice, they're still simmering away. We still have plenty of liquid in there, so that's good. We don't have to worry about that. Give them a good stir, spread everything back out. Let's get that covered. Okay, as you can see, we're starting to bubble here. All right. So now that we have it bubbling, I'm gonna turn the heat down, not all the way down. We want it to bubble still pretty good, so probably in between like low and medium, so it still has a pretty good bubble. I'm gonna steal this lid because it actually belongs on here. So we're gonna set that on there. We're gonna leave a little gap though there. Leave it open. In the meantime, let me grab another lid. Put over these. I think that one will fit in there. Okay, and at this point now, you're kind of gonna just let both of these go for about another, maybe 15-20 minutes or so. You can let it go longer if you want, but technically by the time that time's up, it's pretty good to go. And or we can let it go until we get our pasta fully cooked, and then we'll be ready to go. So we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so water is going for our pasta. Again, cook whatever kind of pasta your family likes, doesn't matter. Cook it per directions on the bag. Each pasta cooks a little bit of different times. Definitely, you always wanna salt that water. couple good large pinches in there. Just adds that extra level of flavor to everything. So you always want to get it salted. We got it at a good boil. You want it to be at a good boil so that the pasta doesn't totally stick to itself. You want to stir it in, and then, you know, make sure you give it a good stir every once in a while. So I'm going to pour our pasta in. Okay. Let's give it a good stir for a second. Come back and stir it again. But we've got that going. Let's check everything else. Let's check our fast gravy. It's bubbling away in there. Okay. Good stir. There we go. Same spoon for everything, because why not? Oh, these are simmering away. They're looking good. They still have plenty of liquid in them. Okay, give those a stir. We will cover those back up. Again, back to that pasta. First couple minutes, it's pretty important to kind of keep stirring it so that it doesn't settle at the bottom and then stick to the bottom. So we're gonna give it a stir. So now that we have our pasta cooking, chickpeas going, gravy's going really well, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna at least chop our lettuce for our salad. I do have romaine. I think a couple of us might be doing Caesar tonight. A couple might just be doing a simple vinaigrette, which I'll show you. It's just real easy. Drizzle of olive oil. We like a little oregano, salt and pepper. You can do a little garlic powder, a little onion powder if you want, and then whatever acid that you decide you like. If you want to do a little white vinegar, that's really good. Red wine vinegar is very good as well. Fresh lemon juice is really good as well. And we just kind of make it to order. We just kind of do it real quick, toss it up, taste it, see if it needs a little more vinegar, a little bit more salt. Again, always start with a little bit to start. You can always add a little bit more. So again, I'm gonna give this a stir again, just to, 'cause I can feel it already wanting to stick down there. All right. Turn the heat down a tiny bit on that. Turn that down to medium. My chickpeas are on all the way down to very low. And then I still have, not quite medium, between low and medium going for the gravy there. All right. And for some that, I'm sure everybody knows this trick by now, but for some that don't, in case you gotta step away from your pasta, keep it from boiling over, throw a wooden spoon over the top. It'll kind of keep it from bubbling up and boiling over. So now we'll go ahead and get our lettuce ready for our salad. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna do romaine. I bought this a couple days ago, so that's what we're gonna use because it's good obviously for Caesar salad and or just a regular salad. And if you're doing just a regular simple salad, throw in whatever you want. We usually throw cherry tomatoes, sometimes a little bit of real thin sliced onions, cucumbers, whatever you normally like in your salad is good. So this one looks pretty good. So I'm gonna keep it whole. I'm gonna take my knife. I'm gonna cut right through there, like that. These are a little bit smaller, so I'm gonna flip it and do it the opposite direction as well, or on the opposite side, excuse me. And then at this point, start down at the end, keep those fingers curled in, and we're just gonna give it a nice chop. You can tear it up as well, however you wanna do it. And this is gonna go into my salad spinner to get washed. Which I always like to put in there. I'm gonna do a second one as well. Let's grab a look at this. Little bruise on there. We'll peel that off. This one looks good. Same thing. Because it's smaller, I'm just gonna do the 2 cuts through. One on either side. And then start at the end. Get it chopped up. So I will get this washed and put in its salad bowl. In the meantime, I'm gonna turn back around. We wanna check that pasta, right? I wanna make sure it's not sticking down there. That's pretty good. I know it still has a few minutes to cook. I'm gonna still leave these where those are at. Okay, we'll throw that back over the top. And at this point, we'll pause for just a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, get my salad washed, get it kind of ready to go, and show you how to make just like a basic vinaigrette. Okay, so we have kind of fast forwarded about 10 minutes or so, just so I can get this video up for you guys. I went ahead and did one of the Caesar salads. I just did a small one. So you just toss it with your dressing. I threw a little extra black pepper on there, a little bit more Parmesan, and our croutons. So I'm gonna do a small version of our other salad. Obviously you'll have to add a little bit more of everything if you're doing a larger bowl of it. So we just have our lettuce in there, okay? I am going to do, as always, a little sprinkle of salt. We'll do a little bit of pepper. Okay, obviously if this were a burger bowl, you would go all the way around with it. Again, something that we like, just real simple. A little bit of garlic powder. We do a little bit of onion powder, is good. And a little bit of oregano. It's good. So I would say if you're doing a larger salad in your salad bowl, maybe roughly a teaspoon of each-ish. And then we'll give it a drizzle with our olive oil. And for this one, we're gonna do a little red wine vinegar. Always, usually your ratios, your oil to vinegar is like 1-2 count. So you'll do like a 1 count of oil to 2 count of your, excuse me, I have that backward. And that's very important. It'll be a 1 count of your acid base, your lemon juice, your vinegar, whatever it is that you're using, to 2 counts of your oil. Okay, so vinegar, it's kind of similar, just like salt. You can easily add too much, so always just start out with a little bit around your salad, toss up that salad, give it a taste, see what you think. So at this point, you would just toss that up, and like I said, taste it. If it's very vinegary, add a little bit more olive oil. If it's not enough vinegar, add a little bit more. Add your salt, more of your garlic powder, whatever else you want to add to it is fine. So we are going to act as if our pasta's finished. I went ahead and took some out. Put it into your dish. Yes, I did warm up the dish in the microwave. Like I told you yesterday, I do like to warm them up so it stays warmer longer. If you want, like I said, chickpeas you can do either on the side. You don't have to do them at all if you don't like them. And or we like to take some out and we just put it right on top of our pasta. And then at this point, we're gonna get some of that gravy on top. Okay, make sure you get a pretty good amount. And again, like I said with the garlic, push them to the side. You can eat them, whatever you want to do. And then as always, what do? We add a little bit more cheese on top because why not? And there you go. We have great grandma's pasta with fast gravy. So it has your chickpeas on there, your sauce, your cheese. Also, when we took that little break, I forgot to mention, I tasted the fast gravy. It needed a little bit more salt, so I added a little bit more, add a little bit more pepper. If you're finding that the tomatoes are staying a little bit too like tart, acidic, you can add a pinch of sugar, little bit at a time. You don't want it to be sweet, but the sugar can help kind of cut that acid. And then we have either our house salad. This one looks kind of boring. Sorry, we're not quite ready to eat yet. Normally I would have cucumbers and tomatoes and whatnot in there with that. Or your Caesar salad to go along with it. If you happen to have any kind of bread, you have little sourdough, Italian bread or whatever, that's really good to kind of dunk in there as well. So, again, if you'd like, pour yourself a glass of wine and enjoy your dinner. Thanks so much.